Alright, this has been a long time coming and you guys have been asking for this for a while now, but today we were going to go through all of my stats and settings for Session Skate Sim as of September 2023. So let's get into it. Just a quick reminder that the sliders go from 0 all the way on the left to 20 all the way on the right, and I'm going to be putting the numbers up on the screen so you guys can easily copy these stats over to your game if you so wish. But we're going to start off with the advanced settings, otherwise known as the stats. Starting off, my gravity is at 7, my push force is 19, max push speed is 20, foot braking friction is 10, banking / turn rate is 9, crouching bank rate is 7, board pop to body distance is 10, low pop height is 7, high pop height is 9, grinds pop height is 9, manuals pop height is 11, body rotation rate is 8, body rotation friction is 12, in-air board orient speed is 8, flip speed is 8, flip friction is 12, scoop speed is 11, scoop friction is 11, grinds friction is 7, grinds rotation speed is 10, power slides friction is 1, board control side impulse is 10, board control extra pitch is 10, board control extra scoop is 10, dark slide catch angle is 10, big drop max height is 10, pumping impulse multiplier is 10, and max sprint speed is all the way up to 20. So that is all my stats. Feel free to copy them as they are if you really want your game to be just like mine, but remember that it's all personal preference, so play around and see what you like yourself. Now we're heading into the camera settings, starting off with the on-board settings. Camera distance is 7, horizontal offset is 6, vertical offset is 18, grinds and slides camera is disabled, grind camera distance is 10, grind horizontal offset is 9, grind vertical offset is 7, stance auto offset is off, horizontal lead-in ratio is 9, vertical follow ratio is 8, pitch tracking ratio is 10. My on-foot camera settings, the camera mode's manual, and invert X and Y are both off. Camera lens, I just use the default camera lens for my gameplay. Camera model is default as well. Camera filter, I use basic blue boost because I think it just gives the game a little bit more color without being too much. I have the intensity all the way up. And the camera light I turn off and on whenever I need light. Okay, so that was my advanced stat settings and my camera settings. We are now moving into the rest of the gameplay settings. So of course I use a custom difficulty preset. My input mode is front and back foot. For me, this just feels a little bit closer to Skater XL, which I was more used to when I came into playing Session, and I just got used to this. It's easier to go between both games. Body rotation mode is manual. I feel this just gives you a lot more freedom with how you actually rotate. Quickly running down here, bail auto respawn is off. Big drop landing input is disabled because that's just an extra little annoyance that I don't want in my video game. Big drop landing is just something that I don't want to deal with personally. Okay, now moving into the board settings. Sync truck tightness is off because I like to have my front truck a little bit looser than my back truck. Front truck tightness is currently at 5, and my back truck tightness is at 7. So not much of a difference between the front truck and the back truck, but just a little bit that I think just plays a little bit better. Wheel bite is disabled because, again, it's just another little annoyance that I have to deal with in real life, so I don't want to have to deal with it in my video game. Wheel grip is at 4, so not too grippy. Now into the flip trick settings. Catch mode is of course manual. Board control mode is also manual. Gives you a little bit more freedom on how you actually manipulate your tricks. Flip speed mode is input speed. This makes the most sense to me. Depending on how fast you flick that analog stick, depends how fast your board flips. Flip continuous mode is off. Sync flips and scoops is on. I go between turning this off and on depending on the type of trick I want to do. If I want to have a particularly fast scoop but a slow flip on, like, say, a varial flip or something like that, I'll maybe turn this off. But at the minute I find there's just a lot of problems with it that I don't like to deal with, especially with tray flips. They just look really ugly with this off, so I keep my flips and scoops synced for now. And scoop input mode is normal. Scoop speed mode is set to input speed. Scoop continuous mode is off. Pop height mode is unique. So that just gives you a little bit more control over how much you can actually pop your board and the different heights you can do. Lit tricks are off and quick shove-its are on because quick shove-its are fun. Moving on to my grind settings. Casual grind mode is off. Grind input mode is set to no release. Grind alignment is set to 17, which is probably seems really high to a lot of people because I know some people like to play with really low grind alignment. But personally, I find that this game's grind alignment is broken because if you have this set really low, you end up sliding out of grinds in very unrealistic ways. You could be perfectly cross-dog locked in a 50-50 and the game will still find a way to slide you out of that. But at the minute, I know that their whole weight distribution system isn't fully fleshed out. But for the people that do play with this really low, more power to you. Trick relative input is off and dark slides are off because I just don't like doing dark slides. On to the revert settings. Revert on ground is disabled, revert on landing is also disabled, revert sensitivity is 5, and auto revert is also disabled. The reason I have these disabled is because I do not double tap trigger to revert. I just do a power slide, I hold down one of the triggers and I revert that way. I just prefer it. I think it feels better, it works better, and I think it's just more natural than double tapping the trigger. And finally, we're gonna look at the wear and tear settings. Clothing dirt is on, board wear and tear is off because I just like to kind of skid my board for as long as I can until I want to change the graphic. Board breaking is currently disabled, but I will switch this on if I ever make an edit or something, or I just feel like I want the feature on. And flat spot sound is disabled because the flat spot sound is horrible. I hate it. I don't want to deal with flat spots in real life. I don't want to deal with flat spots in a video game. And that is it for all the gameplay settings. Again, feel free to copy them as much as you like, but I do recommend really going in and finding the sweet spot for you. Okay, and we're finally going to run down the experimental settings now. Skater physical animation I have enabled. Sometimes I switch this off if it's a little bit too buggy for me. Sometimes the arms can clip through the player, but I normally have it on just for a little bit of added flow and steeze. Casper's disabled, Primo's disabled because I don't do freestyle type of tricks. Lip tricks are of course enabled. I don't know why you would have this turned off because lip tricks are pretty much the only real transition elements that we have in this game right now, so I would definitely say I have these enabled. Both my map layouts are unloaded. My city life settings, I have the NPCs off. Occasionally I'll turn them on, but for most of the time they just get in my way and I don't like them, so I'd keep them off. Okay, and now I'm quickly going to go through my audio and display video settings just for anybody that is interested in that. If you're not interested, you can skip right through to this part, to the gameplay part of the video, but I'm going to go through these in case anyone wants to know more of the technical stuff. So these are my audio settings if you want to copy them at all. I don't know why you would. I do have music all the way down because of course when I'm making videos I don't want to get copyrighted with the music, so I have that off. Display settings, trick display is off, shop tracker is off, mission HUD reminder is on, but I hide it usually. And then we go into my video settings. I use full screen, 1080p. I have a 60 FPS frame rate limit, preset quality to epic, and AMD FSR 1.0 is at ultra quality. VSync is on. If you guys were interested in my video settings at all, there you go. And there you go, that is my stats and settings for Session Skate Sim as of September 2023. I didn't go into too much detail as to why I have things set the way they are, because really, just over time, I just change things depending on how I feel. It just depends if I want to go a little bit faster, or I want things to flip a little faster, or turn a little faster, or slower, or whatever. Feel free to try out my settings, but like I say, I always recommend using, for example, the settings you see today as more of a foundation and then building upon them with your own personal preference and how you like to play the game. The great thing about games like Session is that you get to really make the game play how you like. But for now, personally, I think I have found a real sweet spot with the settings to make Session flow and just play the best that it possibly can in its current state. And now for the rest of the video, we are going to have a bit of a sesh and you guys can watch and see how my camera settings look and how my stats look and whatnot, and then you guys can decide for yourself if you want to copy those settings. But yes, let's just get into some Session gameplay.